Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice. Finally, after every single reviewer on the face of YouTube had the balls to dissect this movie, here comes a Week in Geekdom talking some shit about it.
And now, a conversation piece. This is The Rundown.
Welcome everybody to another exciting episode. Welcome to another edition of The Rundown at a Week in Geekdom. I am your host, Giovanni Menendez, and we're going to talk about Batman v Superman. Why did I wait a month to record this? One, I'm a lazy bastard. I totally forgot to do it. Second, so much hate for this movie, and I want to defend it on some parts. I don't want to actually review it. I just want to talk about 3 things, or 4 or 5, that I really liked and really hated about it. Somewhere along those lines. First off, this movie is not perfect, but I think it was a fun, action-packed way to start the DC Extended Universe. I'm sorry, and you're going to be bitching about not making $1 billion, but it's just, I know it's not going to get there, but it was only $100 million away from getting to $1 billion. That in and of itself is a huge accomplishment. Batman and Superman and Wonder Woman together for the very first time on a movie screen. That in and of itself is quite an achievement, in my opinion. Dawn of Justice is not the perfect movie. It has some pacing issues, particularly with the first couple scenes, and the first half of the movie was just a little bit jumbled. But overall, the more you watch it, the more you find something cool and interesting about it. Ben Affleck was amazing, and I'm sorry, just like everybody else said, Batfleck is my new favorite interpretation of Batman when it comes to live action cinema. He is Batman from now on. Deal with it. Superman was great. I liked him in Man of Steel. I thought Henry Cavill did an amazing job and portraying the Big Blue, and this is not... Because this is such a dramatic and serious tone, it would seem out of place for the character to be a little bit jollier. Maybe when the Justice League movie comes out, we'll get that. But in the context of the stories being played out, this is more about the realism of the cape and cowl business and how it would affect people in real life. It's sort of like, here are these otherworldly gods placed among us, and how would we react to that situation? And I gotta say, in regards to that, I think Snyder did an amazing job. Really, I really think so. These are flawed, interesting, realistic characters. That's why they're broken. That's why you see them acting in totally different ways. And I get that. You want your superhero to act like you've read him throughout many years in your favorite comic books. I do too. But I'm very interested in seeing where this goes. This evolution of these certain characters from, Wonder Woman didn't really do much except fighting and being a total badass. But with Superman, you're getting this Superman that he's just being tugged left and right and at all directions because people expect so much out of the Big Blue, of the pressure of being this otherworldly god that could either be our biggest threat or this savior. So I thought those themes and the state of our world as we know it today, and how certain people view alienism and racism and all that stuff, I think that was really interesting, and we could have had a little bit more of that. But, you know, this is a superhero movie, so we had to have that beat down, and it is 2016. You had Daredevil versus Punisher. Now you got Batman v Superman. You're getting Civil War with Captain America against Iron Man. Everybody's fighting everybody. Why can't we all just get along, people? The one other big thing I did not like, and actually I really hated about this movie, was Jesse Eisenberg's portrayal of Lex Luthor. If you would have told me, hey, this is Riddler, or this is another character, I'd be like, that's genius, amazing. But this was such a departure and was not what I was anticipating. He has the chops to pull it off, but instead they completely went in another direction, which I did not appreciate. If it's not Lex Luthor, then yes, it is a cool character. It's an interesting villain. But it's not the Lex Luthor that I wanted to see. We've never had that stoic, grandiose persona that is so methodical in the way he does things, and ultimately wanting to ostracize Superman and make him out for the threat that he supposedly is, and then like get into power and rule the world and yada yada yada, basically to control the perception of the human mind through images and videos. And the way he speaks, public speaking, is such a great trait for Lex Luthor. He is one of those poster boys that we see a lot of in the news today. So that was what I was expecting. I heard from a friend of mine who is not big on DC Comics, but he was telling me, and this was a weird theory, and I know it's already been published. What if Lex Senior is actually Lex Luthor, and he comes back and whatever? And I'm like, that's a little bit too complicated. People already know Jesse's playing Lex Luthor or whatever. Hopefully after the events of the movie. By the way, spoilers. Hopefully after the events of the movie, when they shave his head and all that stuff, like, yeah, he gets a little bit more serious. Hopefully the crew of the Justice League movie and future DCEU movies realize that we want a different character. This is not what we signed up for. All that set aside, I want to talk about 3 things that really pissed me off around the internet. 1, Batman's level of violence. I'm not justifying it. I'm not going to say that I'm pro whatever the hell he was doing in that movie, but it made sense. Why did it make sense? You got a Batman that's flawed. He's having this midlife crisis. He's angry. He's ferocious. He's lost a Robin. He's lost a soldier in his war against crime. Alfred, throughout the whole thing, is the voice of reason, but he's clouded. He's fallen victim of judging a book by its cover with Superman. It's the first encounter, right? So Batman is heavily flawed, and I know, get off your high horse, people. I know you want to put Batman on some glory pedestal and just say, like, Batman's not supposed to be like this. Well, I'm interested in characters that grow and evolve throughout these movies. So I was really interested in seeing that this character really hated the world he was living in. He's just full-on Batman. He's living in the Batcave. He's been fighting the war on crime for 20 years, and it's not working. He makes that metaphor with Alfred. It's like a bad weed. You pull it out, and another one pops back in, and that's the whole thing with Gotham and the crazy criminals and all that stuff. At some point, you're gonna crack, and I guess you're saying, well, that's the awesomeness of Batman, that he wouldn't crack. But we're getting a realistic take on the character. So in the context of this DC extended universe, it's not the same as the comic books. And I respect that. I respect the vision to make a different take, to alternate a little bit on the character. I'm not saying I approve of his methods, but I understand why he would not care if he started shooting at the car and some the goons would die or whatever. Look, I'm sorry. If we're gonna justify this, maybe they're rubber bullets in the Batmobile. I don't know. So on that regard, I thought it was justified, and now, which leads into the whole Martha scene with some hilarious memes and just conversation about that scene and why it did not. Why some people were a little bit weirded out by it. It could have been better. Yeah, there could have been other methods to make Batman snap out of back into reality, as to, hey, you should not kill this guy because he is a good guy. But in that moment, it's a very simplistic moment where the name of Martha, and by the way, I've read comic books for a long ass time, and it wasn't until the movie where I said, hey, wait a minute, they have the same name. That's awesome. I never put it together. Of course, I knew their names, but I never made the relation, because with Marvel, you get a lot of characters with similar names and and last names and whatever. But that whole scene, I thought it was great because it took something so simple, so innocent as a mother's name to make you realize, wait a minute, this is not what I'm supposed to be doing. And it shows that Batman is such a great character that he admits that what he was doing was not the best thing, and just moves ahead of himself and tries to be a better person. Even if soon after you beat down like 20 thugs Arkham Asylum style, but whatever. But yeah, the whole Martha scene and whatnot, some fans are a little bit on the nose with certain things, and they were just complaining like, well, now they're friends because they say Martha. No. They were never friends throughout this whole thing, right up until Superman dies. Spoilers, whatever. Right up until then, they're not friends. They were never friends. They were just comrades in a fight against Lex Luthor and Doomsday or whatever. But the point I'm making is they're not friends. They will start becoming friends when Superman comes back. He realizes this moment when he's talking to Diana at Superman's grave and just saying, I failed him in life, I won't fail him in death. He has to bring together these 5 other amazing heroes to combat whatever's coming, which we know is Darkseid and the forces of Apocalypse onto Earth. And it's at that moment, and whenever Superman comes back, we're obviously going to see him in the Justice League movie. Whenever he comes back, maybe then we'll get the start of a beautiful relationship between the world's finest. But in this movie, why would they be friends because of the whole Martha thing? They're not friends. But they get a sense of admiration towards each other because they're fighting for a common good, which is to do good in this world. Obviously, they went through totally separate paths, but it's in that moment where they cross again, and we start to get the glimmer of they're going to become what we expect them to become. And for me, that was awesome. I thought that was great. I really, really loved it. And I loved this movie, and I don't think it deserved the bad rap that it did. It's not a perfect movie. And I do not give a shit about the whole Marvel debate or whatever. I love comic books. I love every single type of hero. I read all the comics. I don't give a shit. And you shouldn't either. This is not a competition. If you want to say it, it's Disney versus Warner Brothers. It's not Marvel versus DC. Alright? DC just happens to make grittier, darker films with a touch of realism and yada yada yada. And Marvel is a little bit more lighthearted with a ton of comedy in them. And I respect both for doing that, because I did not want the same thing to translate over to the DC movies. I'm sorry. No. And if you want your lightheartedness, the DC TV adaptations or the Arrowverse is riddled with Golden Age and Silver Age goodiness that is just amazing as well. But with the movies, I'm sorry, I'm at a cross point in my life where I want a little bit more grittiness to them. This movie did not have to have any jokes. They tried doing it, and it was amusing. But the main flaw in this movie, aside from the jumbled mess at the beginning, which a lot of people were confused by it, because I went to a theater that was a little bit, audiences were a little bit troubled by it because they were not exposed to the comics, and they just knew who Batman and Superman were. But with the whole flaw with the movie, in my opinion, was the marketing. Warner Brothers, you fucked up. You do not spoil everything on your 36 trailers and TV spots. When we saw that second trailer, well, they're gonna fight Doomsday, and you're gonna get some cool fight scenes, which you saw in the third trailer. And then Zack Snyder, God bless him, he just went and said, there's more to the movie. Yes, there's more to the movie, but you're giving us the main focal points of the main acts and what they're gonna be about, so you form it in your head. So as a PSA, folks, just watch one trailer and see if you like it, and then wait for the movie and word of mouth and reviews, and then go watch it. Don't watch the trailers. They were so worried, and I get it. They've been trying to do this since the Green Lantern movie with Ryan Reynolds. They've been trying to build what Marvel has done beautifully, but DC is trying to do it in a whole completely different way. Warner Brothers is trying to do this in a completely different way. You saw that with Man of Steel, and I'm happy with the movie. I'm glad it did $800 million gazillion dollars. It's good. It's awesome. I'm really excited about the Justice League movie. I'm really excited about it, folks. It's going to be more lighthearted, more action-packed, and we're going to get diversity. People need to understand this. Just because Zack Snyder's doing this epic tale, which he said, Man of Steel is like your New Hope, I guess, and this one was like Empire Strikes Back, which was a little bit darker, and then you get the Justice League movie, which is more like Return of the Jedi, where it's more upbeat and awesome and whatever. But with all the other heroes, you're gonna get more diversity from them. One, DC has some of the best villains in the business. That much is true. You're gonna get the Suicide Squad, which is a whole team of bad guys that you want to root for. You're getting Wonder Woman, such an amazing character. You've got this epic World War I settings. We're gonna see the Amazons, hopefully the Greek gods, and all that mythological goodiness that I love since I was studying humanities back in the day. That's awesome. Then you get Aquaman, which should be that swashbuckling, awesome undersea adventure, basically like your Game of Thrones, but underwater with like Lord of the Rings type mythical beast. And then you've got Aquaman and facing rejection from his kingdom, and maybe he's gonna fight Ocean Master or Black Manta. And then who else am I forgetting? The Flash. We've already seen him cameo in the DC EU, and we've already seen his TV show on the CW, which is great. And the Flash is the one character that people are underestimating. Regardless of the Ezra Miller thing, this character can travel between parallel Earths. You've already established the multiverse in the CW verse, so I could very well see a crossover happen, and Barry Allen from the Arrowverse and Barry Allen from the movieverse, you could see them colliding together. That'd be pretty cool. Or at least Reverse Flash making some sort of reference to that. But the Flash is very lighthearted, and they've already said they want to inject some comedy in them. Just trust in what the story's trying to tell instead of looking ahead and just generalizing that all these movies are going to be like super dark and gritty. I'm really tired of that meme because it's just being made to continue to poke fun at it. So you're probably saying I don't know shit. That's probably true, but that's my opinion. I said I was going to talk about 5 things, but I'm just going to leave it at that. I thought the movie was great, and I don't want to actually review it. I just stated what I think about it and what I think about the future of the DC Extended Universe, and why I think is awesome, and why I think Batman v Superman was amazing. I cannot wait to watch that 3-hour cut, and you know why? Because my favorite lady in comic books is going to be in there. Jenna Malone is playing Barbara Gordon. That was spoiled a couple months ago on a company survey thing, so she is playing Babs. Batgirl is in this universe, and I can't freaking wait to watch that. So I want that Blu-ray, and I would watch it in a movie theater. I would watch it. I don't know about you. Tell me what you thought about what I just mentioned about Batman v Superman, about the future of the Justice League universe. And I know the movie bombed, but I mean, I make like $7.25 an hour, and these guys are talking about billions of dollars. I get it. It was $250 million to make the movie, and it made $860 million something. It's not the profit they would have wanted. It's great. Tell me what you think. Write down below, like and subscribe. You can dislike, I guess, if you're a one-sided fanboy. I happen to like both. You can follow me on your favorite social media platform from Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, Tumblr, and even Periscope. Just type a Week in Geekdom and I'm there for you guys. Alright, I gotta go. I gotta watch and read some cool stuff. I'll catch you on the next episode.
Thank you for tuning in to another installment. You can keep the conversation going through your favorite social media platform. You can like and subscribe to our YouTube page, follow us on Twitter, like our fan page on Facebook, and favorite our pics on Instagram. You can also write to us for feedback, suggestions, and such via aweekingeekdom@gmail.com. Until next time.
I happen to like both. Here's the Spider-Man that accompanies me on the bunker here.